I'll come back to my guest now. According to reports, Pakistan Army Chief held separate calls with J.D. Vance, Envoy Witkoff, and Iran's Arakchi. If agreed, the plan will lead to immediate ceasefire, reopening of the Strait of Hormuz with a final agreement in 15 to 20 days. Iran and the U.S. have received a plan to end hostilities, two-tier deal with ceasefire and then final agreement. The proposal for final agreement includes Iran foregoing nuclear weapons, receiving relief from sanctions, and release of frozen assets. Reports also claim that the plan to end hostilities in the Middle East needs to be agreed by today. Group Captain Devnath, I'd like your comments, please, on this development.
Very surprising. Pakistan is trying to play a useful role for it. The role is too big for Pakistan to play. Pakistan, Asim Munir, they have played back, they have repeated in this proposal what USA wants, what exactly Iran wants. There is a 15-point agenda which was published by USA about 1 week ago. So Asim Munir has served the same bread in a new basket. There is nothing new in what Pakistan has proposed. Secondly, Pakistan's this proposal to USA will cut no ice with Iran. If Pakistan, Asim Munir really wants to play any important role in negotiation, two things are mandatory. One is Pakistan must first take Iran into confidence. You see, between the belligerent parties, who is the weaker link? Weaker link obviously is Iran. So first, the weak party has to agree that Pakistan's proposal suits them. Secondly, there is a total lack of trust between Iran and Pakistan. In fact, till about 15 days ago, there were very strong rumors that Pakistan is almost agreeing to a US proposal wherein US ground troops and airborne troops will operate from Pakistan's Balochistan province and attack Iran's Sistan province. Probably due to domestic pressure and threat of resistance from various opposition political parties, Asim Munir did not fall for this proposal of USA. But definitely this attempt by Pakistan to negotiate a peace deal is, I'll use the word laughable. Yes.
All right. Very interesting, Group Captain Devnath. Laughable is perhaps the right word. And now the Israeli Defense Forces have released a footage showing Israeli Air Force strikes destroying Hezbollah terror infrastructure inside Lebanon. The video shows precision airstrikes hitting multiple targets, including weapons, depots, and military infrastructure that the IDF says were deliberately embedded within civilian areas. According to the IDF, the strikes targeted underground facilities, rocket launchers, and terror-related sites across southern Lebanon. Israel claims the operation was carried out to dismantle Hezbollah's military capabilities while minimizing harm to civilians. Shruti, what do you have to say for this development and the previous one that we discussed?
Well, as Group Captain Devnath said, that the 15-point plan has been shrunken into what sounds very nice for Iran. Very pro-Iranian points have been chosen. But let's just begin with the fact that the nuclear deal was already done before a month ago. They had already acceded to the fact that Russia can take away the enriched uranium if that is a particular concern of Israel and USA. And they're part of the non-proliferation treaty. They promised not to go forth with any further nuclear enrichment unless it's just for their civil electrification needs, civil peaceful needs. So that point they had even before the war. So I do not understand why they had to fight a war to get a point that they already had. Beyond that, the Strait of Hormuz was also open. The war is the reason that it was closed. If it goes back to being open, then we are pre-war status only. We've not really, the US has not really gained anything out of the entire war scenario. The only thing that does sound good apart from these 2 points is the third point, that Iran would have access to its frozen assets, which it has been demanding, which were frozen when the JCPOA was retracted. It was when the E3 slapped reverse sanctions recently, when the first sunset clause was about to come to fruition, and they were about to get access to some of it. The E3 that Germany, France, and UK filed with UN, and that they are not very comfortable with the enriched uranium in question, and so the assets remain frozen. So if I go by what I know, then they are going back to what JCPOA was in just some other terms, and it looks like a victory for Iran. Even if they if they do this, the only thing is that it has costed the lives of thousands, not just military personnel but civilians as well. It has costed infrastructure, not just in Iran but the entire Gulf region. It has costed Israel very heavily. Although we have lesser reports coming out from there, but what we can see shows enough damage being done to the nation itself. So it shows that the negotiations are basically a polite way of saying that US is kind of done with this entire thing and they cannot really accomplish much, and they would want a off ramp, even if it looks as if they have set the terms for Iran to sign on. For the Hezbollah angle, they've been fighting this war, I do not know since when, with the Hezbollahs. They also fought recently. The entire southern Lebanon is almost under control of IDF and its military. They continue to attack places where they suspect Hezbollah operates. Hezbollah is part of the axis of resistance as such, and which is an existential crisis for Israel. So they do continue to attack, and the footage shows, of course, that there were ammunitions and other training materials in that entire region that they attacked. And so as we've seen with Hamas, they've used civilian infrastructure to continue their acts of resistance as such, or terrorism in other words. So Israel is trying to continue to at least keep its borders safe, its people safe, and try and wipe out the influence of the ideology of Iran and of its arms and terror access in the Middle East. They were not successful with Hamas. Hamas is reduced but not wiped out, and then they're hoping probably to get a similar result with Hezbollahs, that they're reduced but not wiped out. So at least they get a breathing room, they can regroup, retrain, fix their own damaged places, and try and find a way then next to, hopefully this weakened Iran would not be able to give succor to all the three major ones, and the minor ones I think come down to about 12 odd from Badr and other places, IPM, PMF, Badr, etc. included. So these 12 terrorist organizations, the resistance forces that Iran gives succor to, they would probably fall apart. So it's a hope that they're having, that with the downfall of Iran, even if it wins the war by trying to get a claim at having a passage fee by every ship that passes through Strait of Hormuz, and by continuing to stay a nation in the way they desire to be, Israel is hoping that the influence across the Gulf is reduced and its existence is not an immediate crisis as it has been for the past few years.